Imagine a place so cramped, chaotic, and full of life that living in the capital alone takes 7 years off your life. Yes, 7 years. And this isn't clickbait, it's an official fact. Welcome to Bangladesh, the country that was born in hard mode and never found the reset button. Here, the human density is so absurd that even the wind queues up to pass. 176 million people try to breathe in the same space, as if everyone chose to live in the same train car. Dhaka, the capital, is like an unlimited online game. Every corner occupied, every street jammed, every centimeter fought over by a rickshaw, a vendor, a shout, and someone who simply appeared. In the poorest neighborhoods, the density reaches 250,000 people per square kilometer. It's insane. There are so many people that if you blink, you wake up in someone else's home. And if someone farts, my friend, everyone breathes it together. There's no escape. Bangladesh is that. Overwhelming, noisy, creatively chaotic with a stubborn energy that lives on the edge of collapse and still insists on functioning. Here, reality doesn't need exaggeration. It's born that way. Now that you understand this little hell on earth, let's see where this paradise called Bangladesh is located. The hellish geography. Bangladesh was born in the worst possible location for a country. It's like building on a punctured water mattress, waiting for gravity to give in. 3 colossal rivers descend from the Himalayas. They aren't rivers, they are liquid monsters, and they meet right here. The trio forms the largest delta, a fertile plain. This delta has 2 faces, the generous, rich, humid land that nourishes millions, and the deadly side that floods, drowns, destroys, and reshapes the entire country every year. Yes, the map of water. 3 major floods are part of the calendar. 21% of the country is submerged normally, and up to 60% in bad years. The Bangladeshis call it Tuesday.
And just when you think it's over, the cyclones arrive. Here, hurricanes aren't exceptions, they are regular visitors. In 1970, the deadliest hurricane in history hit, 500,000 dead. An entire city disappeared. In 1990, killing 139,000 people. And in 1998, Bangladesh practically vanished from the map. 2/3 of the country submerged, 30 million affected. Now tell me, is it possible to have fixed infrastructure in a place that changes like a teenager changes their mind? Bridges, roads, dams, power, everything must be rebuilt constantly as rivers change course, left, right, or take shortcuts. Yet people invented ways to survive, floating gardens and farms. If water rises, the garden rises. If it falls, the garden stays. Apocalyptic creativity. But the delta also brings a toxic bonus. That water carries plastic, metals, industrial waste, and chemical detergents. The soil, which should be a blessing, becomes a toxic buffet. That's Bangladesh, the most fertile land in the world next to the most polluted ecosystem. A country that is born and dies every year and still insists on existing. And now that you survived the geography, brace yourself. Let's enter real life. Suicidal traffic, university-level rickshaw chaos, and cancerous air. Since you now understand that the geography of Bangladesh seems like a collective divine punishment, let's look at real life, where what would seem extreme in any other country is just another Tuesday. Dhaka isn't a place you move around in, it's a place you survive the journey. The horn isn't a warning, it's the official language. No one insults you in traffic, they politely communicate that they're running over you. Logic? Forget it. Traffic lights don't exist. Signs are a myth. Traffic rules are in a manual nobody ever opened. Want an idea? A 5-kilometer trip can take 2 hours, not by chance, but by custom. Meanwhile, elsewhere in the country, there are daily power and water cuts. Entire towns go without electricity, and the capital receives 700,000 new residents every year, as if the sky has a secret door dumping people directly into Dhaka.
But the chaos isn't just from people. It's from garbage. Here, trash isn't a problem. It's tradition. The sewer system dates back to the 90s, when it works at all. 89% of the population doesn't have an adequate network. Many neighborhoods rely on a communal alley bathroom, and there's a river that's a dump. It was a river. Today, it's a living landfill. So many layers of garbage that the water disappeared. Yet, Dhaka retains its most iconic cultural element, colorful rickshaws, which look like they were painted by 10 artists in a paint war. They're beautiful until you see people hanging from buses, trains, windows, and roofs. Mobility here is an action movie without CGI. The train is full inside, outside, on the roof, in the cracks, and the rest only God knows. And the best part is that for them, it all makes sense. Dhaka functions on its own logic. The constant honking is a sonic Wi-Fi. A red light isn't a stop, it's a warning before crossing. Champion. It's their chaos. A chaos that promises nothing, yet delivers exactly what you expect. And now that you've seen how the country works externally, it's time for the cruelest part. The air. Yes, the air. The most basic of life, because breathing in Bangladesh is undoubtedly like an extreme sport. The invisible enemy. If Bangladesh seemed hard so far, take a deep breath. Don't breathe, because here comes the invisible enemy, the air. Breathing here isn't automatic. It's a risk contract. Bangladesh is officially the most polluted and toxic country in the world. Not a meme, not sensationalism, not an influencer exaggerating, it's a fact. The capital's air is 15 times dirtier than the World Health Organization's limit. To understand, one day in Dhaka is equivalent to smoking 22 cigarettes, even if you've never smoked a Marlboro. And it's not the gray city pollution you see on Instagram. What covers Bangladesh isn't fog, it's dust, poison, and heavy metals. Look at the horizon and think, how beautiful, huh, champ?
It's floating arsenic, lead, cadmium, mercury, all flying together, entering your lungs as if it's the day's menu. It's the only place with air more complex than a cheap drink. The result? An epidemic of everything. Asthma, bronchitis, lung infections, cancer. Over 200,000 people die each year from the air. Another 669,000 clog hospitals seeking pure air that doesn't exist. And it's not limited to air. Food inhales the same poison. Street meat covered in toxic dust. Water boiled with chemical particles. Heat turns the country into a bacteria breeding ground. But where does all this misfortune come from? Factories? Yes. Cars? Yes. Chaotic traffic? Sure. But the main culprit is brick kilns. Yes, bricks, the simplest construction element, became a collective chemical weapon. Bangladesh has 7,000 brick kilns burning coal, wood, plastic, and old tires. Zero filters, zero control. Everything goes straight into the atmosphere. The kilns, next to cities, spit black smoke that gives Dhaka a post-apocalyptic look 24/7, creating a vicious cycle. Brick dust contaminates food, soil, water, and plants, returning to people's tables. It's the food chain of chaos. And, as the cherry on top, the textile industry. Zara, H&M, Nike, Adidas. Much of the world's fashion is produced here, and chemical waste goes into rivers untreated. Foamy water, bright colors, smells that make you question existence. Breathing here is a war, and it's a war you won't win. At most, you survive. The economy of disaster. If breathing in Bangladesh is already impossible, earning money is practically a survival sport. In many countries, work dignifies. In Bangladesh, it barely keeps you alive to keep working. It's a cruel loop. Salaries reveal the situation. A doctor earns 30 to 40,000 taka, an engineer 35,000, a teacher 20,000. Yet a rickshaw driver under the 40 degrees Celsius sun dodging deadly buses earns more than them. That's Bangladesh being Bangladesh. Logic takes a vacation. It gets worse. Dhaka receives 700,000 new residents every year, almost 1 million people added to a city already overwhelmed by locals. It's like using a toilet already completely full. The engine of the economy is the textile sector. One proof? Look at your shirt's label. If it says made in Bangladesh, you're part of the equation. Zara, H&M, Nike, Adidas, made here. And the person sewing it earns $4 per month.
With that, I can't even pay for the weekend barbecue. It's not just the low salary, it's the heat, the toxic dust, the long shifts, the old machinery, and that chemical that hugs you like a nightmare. But nothing surpasses the ship graveyard. Half of the world's cargo ships die here, and someone has to dismantle these monsters. Workers face falling metal, exploding tanks, asbestos in their lungs, chemicals on their skin, and tons of steel waiting for a single misstep. All that for a day's pay, the deadliest job on the planet. And yet, 200,000 people show up every day, because it's that or hunger. And just when you think you've hit rock bottom, the waste economy appears. Around 8,000 tons of plastic are processed daily. Who sorts the trash? Children, aged 10 to 12, by hand, among sewage and smoke. It's misery and routine, and that's the scariest part. In the end, Bangladesh continues standing mainly because much of its population left. There are 13 million Bangladeshis working abroad and sending money home. Just last year, remittances reached $30.3 billion. It's so much foreign money that Bangladesh is like that relative, surviving thanks to family support. The result is an economy that struggles to breathe but still breathes, strong on paper, fragile in real life, hanging by a thread about to snap. Now that you've seen the country's pocketbook, let's get to the most painful part, when the water you drink and the school you attend start becoming obstacles. Daily struggles. The more you look at daily life in Bangladesh, the more you wonder how people keep going. What's basic for us, water, bathroom, school, food, is an advanced patience test here, starting with water. Turning on the tap and drinking? Forget it. Most people use wells, and that water carries arsenic, metals, bacteria, and a taste that should come with a warning siren. And the worst part? For many, it's the best option. Drinking water here is a risk, and the sewage system exists in theory but barely works.
Almost 90% of the population lives without a proper network, and if there is a toilet, it's communal, hidden in an alley, shared by many. The basics have become a luxury. And that famous river in the capital, which should be a postcard, today is so full of trash it looks like solid ground. Layers upon layers of waste have buried the water. It's watching a river die. Education is bleeding. Theoretically free. In practice, the poor bribe for a spot, a notebook, or a teacher. Half the schools have no principal, no official in charge. The result? 70% of children finish primary school unable to read or do basic math. Many reach 14 years old unable to interpret a short sentence, and we're talking about a country with almost 180 million people. While education declines, hunger persists. A quarter of children are stunted. Their diet is based on rice, 250 kilograms per person per year. It's both a lot and too little. Large quantity, very little variety. Protein is scarce. At home, the impact continues. Only 54% of families have a refrigerator. The rest live off non-perishables in a hot, humid country with health risks. And there's more. Begging has become a way of life. It's common to see people who could work choosing to beg because it gives them more than a formal job. It's sad, but makes sense given the country's logic. The more you observe Bangladesh, the more incredible the resilience of its people. Life continues despite everything: water, trash, infrastructure, fragile education, limited food. Daily life is truly difficult, outside our standards, but reveals an almost brutal strength. Culture, taboos, and social fractures. Now let's go deeper. How culture, customs, and taboos shape life in Bangladesh and reveal the country's invisible fractures. I've seen complex, complicated countries with peculiar trends, but Bangladesh decided to play in hard mode, unlock every possible strange rule, and act as if everything were normal.
To start, 99% of the population is Bengali. Such homogeneity, it seems someone copied and pasted the same face across the entire map. Yet the country is full of cultural, religious, and social conflicts. Because, of course, when everyone is the same, society invents reasons to fight. The official religion is Islam, but Hindu, Buddhist, and Christian festivals are recognized. Officially rigid, in practice flexible, depending on the government's mood. Classic, you can, but not much. Social life. Girls, especially in rural areas, live in a parallel world. Over 80% of girls aged 14 to 20 cannot leave home alone. Yes, they cannot just exist on the street. And if they're seen talking to boys, scandal, shame, social tribunal, live medieval soap opera. It's that cultural detail of Muslim countries still treating women as objects, something many European progressives prefer to relativize for the narrative. And now the most surreal, sexuality. Being gay there is as accepted as a hurricane at a picnic. Insults are everywhere, in traffic, on the street. Foreign LGBT people often say it feels like traveling back in time. Things in a tolerant country whose religion is Islam. For context, New York elected a Muslim, remember? But there's an unexpected exception. The Hydras, the traditional trans community recognized as a third gender since 2013, have registration and voting rights. Only seems like progress. In 2024, Hydras were banned from entering some mosques. It's like saying, you exist, but don't show up. And there are the Dalits, some 5 or 6 million invisible people. They do the hardest, most crucial, and dangerous work and are treated as if they had a scarlet letter. It's an inequality that enrages and embarrasses at the same time. Yet Bangladesh wouldn't be Bangladesh without a touch of cultural absurdity. The pond, a mix of leaf, lime, nut, and tobacco, chewed proudly like the apocalypse's gum. It causes mouth cancer at absurd levels and leaves red stains everywhere. The city looks like a zombie movie set. Still, Bangladeshis are very friendly. They live in absolute chaos with bizarre rules and dysfunctional structures, yet they keep smiling. They invite you to eat and treat foreigners like distant family.
You realize Bangladesh doesn't seem logical to us, but it makes sense to them. That mix of tradition, resilience, and cultural stubbornness is as fascinating as it is frustrating. The country born in chaos. To understand why all this exists, we must look at history, a history full of divisions, conquests, wars, independence, and of course, more chaos. Bangladesh spent nearly 2 centuries under British rule, enough time for 3 generations to be born, live, and die without the country deciding its future. The British came, exploited, squeezed, and did what they wanted. When they left, they gave a parting gift, an absurd map. In 1947, the British looked at the region and said, "We'll divide this badly." They created 2 Pakistans, West Pakistan and East Pakistan, which would become Bangladesh. A small detail, the 2 were separated by 16 kilometers of India. It's like creating a country with offices in Manaus and Buenos Aires and thinking it will work. As always, dividing a territory quickly made East Pakistanis second-class citizens. The economy was controlled by the West, politics too, and any Bengali voice was ignored. Classic. Same country, but you stay silent.
The situation worsened until 1970, when a natural disaster hit East Pakistan and the Western government didn't care. The straw that broke the camel's back came the next year. Bengalis won the national election, and West Pakistan decided not to accept the result. Boom, the fuse is lit. East Pakistan declared independence, starting one of the most traumatic chapters in modern Asia. The 1971 war was brief but brutal. Massacres, repression, extreme violence, the most violent conflicts of the 20th century. The war only ended because India intervened and fully supported the Bengalis. In 13 days, West Pakistan collapsed militarily and Bangladesh was born. The bitter part? The country gained freedom but inherited dismantled infrastructure, persistent poverty, a non-existent economy, and a massive colonial past. Congrats, you're independent. Here's your flag and the full package of problems you didn't ask for. Since 1971, Bangladesh has struggled to escape that shadow. Between natural disasters, unstable politics, external exploitation, and internal chaos, the country seeks a balance it has never found.
With this recent history in mind, we now enter the most current, intense scenario. The political pressure, young people without a future, suffocated families, and people fed up with corruption. How did the government respond? With bullets, violence, chaos. The result? Over 100 dead. It's so absurd it looks like a war statistic, but it was a protest. Amid the confusion, Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina fled to India. Yes, she fled, leaving the country without leadership, direction, or a terrified population. As if that weren't enough, there's still the climate time bomb. By 2050, about 17% of Bangladesh is expected to disappear due to floods and erosion. That means 26 million climate refugees, the largest planetary crisis in the making. Today, Bangladesh hangs by a thread between growth and literally not sinking. It's a country between a heavy past, an unstable present, and a future that seems poised to be erased from the map. Brief, direct, and painful. Bangladesh struggles for existence. If you've made it this far, comment "Little Hell on Earth." I want to see who endured this journey through chaos. And beware, the video appearing on your screen now is about another one of those captivating paradises. Click now before it disappears. Believe me, you won't want to miss it.